Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? Today we're going to go over the last week of Season 5 Crucible rules, and then on Friday we're going to be recording all new stuff. Zero was nice enough to come in with some ideas of what you should or should not use this last week if you want to make some fun changes. Maybe you had a bad Season 5 and you just want to have a little bit of fun. You could try out some of these as they're a little bit more trick plays. Zero loves to use a variety of things in different ways. He has a Swiss cheese kind of roster, and so he can't always use the 5-piece cookie cutter teams or the same meta that everybody else is using. And so these are some ideas that different people could use at all different ranges. However, Room 1 here, we didn't really like. He doesn't even like this, and he wouldn't tell me what he changed it to because this was kind of hot trash. It was, the idea was Magneto goes first, and then hopefully they all, assist Magneto, tunnel somebody down, and then Carnage starts giving that turn meter to Venom and himself, and the symbiotes kind of take off, and then you get the pings from Archangel to get him down. The thing is that people can just roll over this with a Death Seed, like a straight Death Seed just rolls right over it, and it's not a big deal. And that is a problem because not a lot of people are using Death Seed on offense or defense right now. And so it's a freebie room. They can one-shot this without using any of their Master Key style teams, and it goes down pretty easy. So this one, though an interesting idea, is more of a fail. Chat was saying that it would probably be better off using like a full Death Seed and maybe subbing out Psylocke for Noir, so Noir goes faster and then gets some assists or something, but you never know. You gotta try some of the fun stuff. So even though this is a fail, it was an interesting idea, and next season we're gonna be combining things and doing some different stuff, and though the room rules are gonna work differently, there's gonna be a lot of theory crafting in how we mix and match some really wide tags. So this is just showcasing maybe something you probably don't want to do. Room number 2 is some of the Sinister, some of the Superior Six, and Nova. And what's going on here is Zero wanted Doc Ock to summon a Vulture, so he would end up having a Vulture in 2 different rooms. Yeah, we'll get to the Superior Six in the next one. So he'd have a Vulture in 2 different rooms. We like what Lizard does defensively. And then Shocker and Electro are giving some damage to the team. Of course, Doc Ock works well with Deflex, and so hopefully Nova gets to his ultimate. I don't know if it'll really work. We do see people going into this and either overestimating the team and wasting valuable resources on it, or underestimating it and kind of getting rolled. More often than not, it seems like they're overestimating, which is a good thing. You end up wasting stuff for your team. I'm not super excited about this, but when you look at the overall strategy of what Zero was doing, and you look at some of the results that he's been having, his overall strategy has been working. So for what he's doing right here, this is actually kind of cool. Personally, I like using Nova on offense way too much to put him in here on this team. I would rather just throw in another Sinister 6 associate or team member in here instead of Nova. Let's see, as far as the ISOs go, those all look pretty good. I like those ISOs, that's fine. And then over here we have in room 3, now this is the ultimate room where they're popping off a little early because the ultimates are less expensive. This is the Superior 6 team. This is, the Superior 6 in Season 5 is really challenging to beat. A lot of people are going into it with a different variation of the Superior 6, but their kits and the way you mix and match them become so complicated. A lot of people just don't know what to do, and so they try some different things, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But we've seen the people that are beating this were using a Superior 6 variant, but it was an ugly matchup. It was an ugly matchup. We have heard of some compositions that you can use to beat the Superior 6 that don't involve Superior 6. All of that's going to change next week. However, it does involve some Pegasus members, some different things going on there. I believe it's like Pegasus, Tangled, and Nova or something like that. I don't remember. But what's happening here is that Zero is basically trying to draw out his opponent's Superior 6. And I like the ISOs, I like the placement on this Great Big Vulture, doing that early rewind with the ultimate, giving this team some time. Then once Goblin starts going and rewinds the team, it can get real ugly real fast. Moving on to room number 4 is another team that a lot of people like to use the Superior 6 on. It's the Extreme X-Men. However, most people are using Extreme X-Men in either 4 or 5, but they're using Forge and Rogue. And instead, Zero is using Sunspot and Emma. And what's happening here is Emma screws this up for the, I believe it's the new warrior counter. Is that right? I'm probably getting that wrong. Emma screws things up for traditional counters, so you kind of have to use your Superior 6 on this. The Masters of Evil, yes, that's it. Masters of Evil, it's screwing up. Because it's making the Nightcrawler, well, it's not making Nightcrawler go faster. It's making your opponent go slower so Nightcrawler has time to do the things that he needs to do. So what happens is people are using Superior 6 in here to beat it, which is the same thing they would be using if they were using the Forge and Rogue variant. You try to tunnel down Forge and he can't, and so as soon as he goes below a certain level, Rogue taunts and pulls you away from Forge, and then Forge is able to do his things, which propagates the positive effects, and it works with any X-Men, as we'll see in the next room. So he's taking Forge and Rogue out of this room and allowing them to be used in a second room. It doesn't diminish too much of what the Extreme X-Men can do. He's finding that most people are still using the same counters to beat this variation of the Extreme, which allows him to put in another very deadly version of the Unlimited X-Men, which is Forge and Rogue with Dormammu. Now, I would say, I think that Dazzler is a little bit redundant in here since the team is cleansing themselves, but she can put out that ability block and do stuff to the enemy team. It's still pretty good. Again, you're going to try and tunnel down Forge. It's going to trigger the reflexive taunt on Rogue. Forge is going to take his turn, propagate all those positive effects, and do all the things that Forge does. These are all X-Men, of course, except for Dormammu. And it's going to work out really well, and it can catch people off guard. So people are coming into it with some of their what's now being called Master Key teams to beat this. Dormammu, of course, doing Dormammu things. This is great. I actually really like this 2 X-Men team idea, especially compared with the Superior 6 in here. Lots of places that you want to be using the same teams, and that's a great strategy to go about. Force your opponent to use their best teams and have to decide on what's the most impactful place to use. Maybe they make a bad decision, or maybe it just makes it really hard in the other rooms where they didn't use their best stuff. Maybe they have trouble on efficiency getting through it. Finally, in room 6, we have this, which I was looking at and I was completely confused and didn't understand how this works. The idea here is that we're beefing up Red Hulk. Morgan Le Fay is giving him speed, I believe, or maybe it's health, I can't remember. We've got Apocalypse, which is helping that. I mean, you're talking about Horseman right here, right? So Apocalypse helping him out. You've got Abomination, which is giving him Drain, and I believe more health. And then Green Hall gives him immunity on spawn with Safeguard. And so when you take the new Warriors into this, they're not able to get through Red Hulk. They can't apply their negative effects to Red Hulk or Apocalypse unless you come in with an Apocalypse of your own to remove Safeguard, and I don't think that's even going to work. And so it makes it really hard to kill the Red Hulk, and the Red Hulk can just stomp fools. And he says that he's getting great results with this team. The times that it has been beaten, it's using ridiculous stuff to do it. A lot of people going in to this with the new Warriors, and it's just not working. However, if you like to use Darkhold on defense, of course, it's going to kind of neuter that team. Abomination isn't an amazing pick for a 5th, but it goes well with this strategy. A lot of people like to put like a Gamma with Dormammu in here, but of course Zero's doing something completely different. And of course, your Apocalypse isn't available for offense anymore, which is a key tool to be using against other teams, especially against other people when they put Super Scroll on defense. So this can get kind of crazy, but once again, it's needing something like a Masters of Evil to go forward and beat it. In fact, I think what beat this really clean and efficient was a Masters of Evil with APOC to go into it. And that's a huge amount of offensive power to be drawn into one room. So I think that's kind of cool in and of itself. Zero has had a lot of luck with these crazy variations of teams. And if you would like to try something like this, by all means, go ahead and do it. However, if you are doing really well in Cosmic Crucible right now, the rule is if it's working, don't fix it, right? Don't change it if it's working. But if you're getting the pants beat off of you, then try out some of this fun stuff. I mean, you only got one week left. And remember, when the end of the season comes, Scopely brings you down a peg or two just for the fun of climbing back up. We all kind of get frustrated with that. But you may not even be interested. You may just want to just have some fun and try some new teams. And now's the last week of these room rules to try it. So thank you, Zero, for sending these in. I hope I didn't butcher your ideas too much. These things were just so extravagantly different that I had trouble remembering the whole art of how it all works. And also a special shout out to Burnsy, who was the only person to one-shot all of these rooms. And he sent in his angle of how he did that so we could go over what worked specifically. Zero's changed all of these things to different stuff, so Zero's next opponent, who apparently watches, isn't going to get any tips on how to beat this. Remember, guys, don't just have a good game, be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.